Let's talk about the people who I think pretty much everybody recognises came out of Thursday very well, which is reform. And you've just raised the issue of immigration. He, of course, ran very heavily on the government's record on immigration. He also ran on net zero. He's been beating you up. He apparently was agreed with by Tony Blair, who, you know, we can argue about what Tony Blair said, but he basically said that the aim of net zero by 2050 is unrealistic. Farage called for Scunthorpe to be nationalised. You didn't. Is there a real problem for Labour that actually reform is really eating into your traditional working class base?
Well, I think reform is definitely a real threat and one that we take seriously. I think there's clearly, on the right of British politics, a realignment taking place. It's not yet clear whether at the next general election it will be reform or the Conservatives that are Labour's main challengers. But we've got to take that threat seriously. And in that spirit, I think reform does deserve more airtime and scrutiny of their policies, because you mentioned the issues that Nigel Farage wanted to fight the local elections on. There were other issues like the NHS where he wilts in the sunlight of scrutiny. He says on one hand, he says people who can pay should pay. And then he says, oh, no, but I still want the NHS. He says he wants an insurance system. But he doesn't say who should pay, how much they should pay.
OK.
And that is a real threat to the NHS, and one I think we absolutely
Will you start to treat them now
as
as your most serious opposition?
I certainly do treat them as a serious opposition force. As I say, I don't know whether it will be reform or the Conservatives that emerge as the main threat. I don't have a horse in that race, but like Alien versus Predator, you don't really want either one to win, but one of them will emerge as the main challenger to Labour at the next general election. But as the Prime Minister said in his article over the weekend, you know, we see as the big issues and the big battlegrounds the economy, the cost of living, borders, and the NHS. And we've got to show by the next election real improvement to people's lives and experiences on all three of those issues. And that's what the Prime Minister wants us to go.
Finally, can I briefly